Look, you're here. That's so exciting.
It's me, not Jen.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Bob Herzog.
And I'm meteorologist Tara Blake. Yep, filling in for Jen Dalton this week. Are you ready for me this whole week?
Whole week of Tara Blake.
I'm terrified. I've literally said prayers. Please don't let me say anything stupid, Lord.
I told her right before we started, there is no such thing as too much talking. Like you can, like really. In fact, if you don't do enough, that's technically more of a problem. Yes.
Yeah, I don't think we'll have a problem with that.
I think we're we're like 40 seconds heavy. What did you do this weekend? Anything fun?
Baseball. One of them in the rain.
Okay.
My son got the winning hit, so that was the end of the second game. He
got the walk
in the
off.
First, got the walk off. It was amazing.
That's awesome.
Now I want to tell you, we went and saw If, and I'm
I'm
not giving anything away here, but I bawled my eyes out.
Really?
Had no idea this component.
Jen mentioned that Ryan, her husband,
Yeah.
that he got a little like it was a lot. Yeah.
I did not know that part of the movie.
Did the kids like it?
Yes.
Okay.
For sure. The husbands, the moms, yes.
Okay.
But I'm just warning you, if you're planning on, we've got a little rain this week, we got some fog.
Yeah.
If you're trying to do something indoor with the kids, bring your tissues.
Yeah. And we're actually going to talk about box office stuff in a little bit. But before we do that, let's see what's brewing here in the Tri-State. You know what? Let's just start this whole thing with an oldie but a goodie in terms of sound effects. Bry Guy, if you're ready, hit me. Man,
Bry Guy's the one that found it?
Apparently, Bry Guy, I don't know what button he had to push or where in the system he found it, but God bless you, Bry Guy, for locating that, because it always makes me feel like I'm in a Scooby-Doo cartoon involving a lighthouse.
So which one of you is hiding?
I don't know, someone out there. It wasn't for you blasted kids. But all things aside, joking-wise, I could not believe how thick the fog was, especially in spots where I'm not used to it being that thick.
Same. On the highway.
Yeah.
Driving in. And because we have less people on our roads, it's summer. Kids aren't out there.
It's not
buses aren't
out.
Yeah, it's still really bad. And expecting the fog to continue to be bad through about 11, 12 o'clock. This is video we're actually seeing from 6:15 this morning at the banks downtown.
It was wild.
You can't see much.
And I don't get on the interstate. So when I drive in, most of the time, I come through Clifton. I come up the hill, across Central Parkway, come up McMillan, and kind of come through by UC that way. And I don't think I've ever had a situation where I was coming down McMillan where from light to light, I could not see the next light until I was almost on top of it. It was crazy.
My scary part is the stop sign. If I can't see the stop sign, I'm like, who can't see me?
Yeah.
Oh, so it was one of those kind of mornings.
And you mentioned a lot that for whatever reason, I don't know if they're just attracted more to be out when it's really foggy.
Well, they can't see
I saw 5 or 6 deer. I saw 5, which I'll see a handful here or there on the way in, I guess. But I saw like 5 or 6 before I got out of my neighborhood. For the most
deer
part.
are usually pretty skittish around cars and humans for that reason, and they only come out at night, and there's not as many people out, so they can't see you. So they're thinking like, this is free reign. Let's go.
I can hang out a little while longer.
Yeah.
One of the things that fog can do too is perhaps make you think you're seeing things that you're not seeing, and I hope that's the case with what happened earlier this morning.
Yes.
So earlier this morning, Cincinnati police searched the area around the Cincinnati Zoo after receiving reports of a tiger on the loose.
Not Daniel Tiger.
No,
a real
actual tiger. But the zoo says they have accounted for both of their tigers. They're where they are supposed to be. Someone commented online, truly welcome to the jungle. Another thinks it's just Bengals quarterback Joe Burrow in disguise, having a night out before training camp. I don't know what the heck it was. Apparently the search is over. The police are not out there anymore.
So were there multiple accounts of this or just one?
I don't know.
I know.
I don't know how many people called that in, if it was just one person that called it in. But I'm taken back. Do you remember when the call came in? This has got to be 5-7 years ago, maybe. Of the monkeys in the trees.
Oh, for sure.
In Price Hill. I believe it was Price Hill. Do y'all remember what I'm talking about? There was a call and it was a thing. Like all day and the next day, people were talking about that there were monkeys in the trees.
And I can't remember what it was. What did it result in? Was it the birds were making the sound?
I think ultimately we think it was maybe some turkeys that were roosting high, or maybe some vultures. That combination with some people in Price Hill who perhaps
at certain times of
were experimenting with substances now legal that perhaps would not have been then.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
It's a different world that we live in now.
It is a different world.
You know what seriously freaks me out though?
What's
like
that?
my kids love animals.
Sure.
So the fact that they could see a tiger.
Oh.
Tiger?
All the more reason to go
I
not
gotta
even
go
in the zoo.
see this tiger.
Just outside the zoo would be great.
Let's not see the tiger. Yeah, that's exciting.
But I wonder, and it could have been something. You know, we got it wasn't that long
Maybe
ago.
it was a dog
It was
painted.
Great Parks, Hamilton County Parks.
Yeah.
They sent that shot of a bobcat out of Miami Whitewater. That's kind of out in it a little bit. You know, if you're near the Cincinnati Zoo, you know, you're in a pretty well-developed area where you would not expect to see that kind of thing. But wouldn't shock me. Wouldn't shock me.
Would you like
not
to
a
get,
tiger, but like a bobcat. I could buy that.
That phone call though, when you're from the zoo.
No.
Hey,
You guys got, how many tigers do you have? We have 2. Do you know where both of them are right now? And are they both okay? But they have lots of other cats. You know what I mean? Like they have a cat house. But I guess everything must be accounted for because police are no longer looking for anything. There would be more phone calls coming in.
That's a cool story though.
So perhaps
and
the people
nothing was found
who were in Price Hill found themselves near the zoo.
Yeah, maybe.
And perhaps were similarly.
Maybe they're writing a book, and this is just part. That's the next
entertaining
chapter.
themselves.
The tigers that were found.
Maybe.
Okay.
Perhaps.
A local para-athlete is coming home from a state track and field championship with medals. We first told you about June McKnight when she made a state qualifying time. She's a sophomore wheelchair racer at Lakota West. Look at her. Her mom says June placed in the 100, the 400, and the 800 meter race. June says she was just excited to meet other athletes that race just like her.
I'm so glad she got the opportunity to go out there and race because I don't know if you remember, her qualifying time was just that. It was just a time because there was no one else, I guess, in the area for her to compete against. So she had to qualify for the state meet based on time alone. So to actually be out there on the track with other racers had to have been a really cool experience.
Talk about how much talent she has because a lot of times you can be as good as your competition.
Correct.
So she was out there just battling herself to get better and better and better.
And I think that's hard.
She
you know what I mean? She did. She went out there and medaled while others were out there, which is really cool.
Yeah.
Hey, you may soon have to pay to visit a popular spot in Kentucky to get back to nature. New fees are at least being proposed at different sites in Red River Gorge. It's an area that people will drive from hours away to see. A lot of people here from the tri-state area head down to Red River Gorge. I've been down, quite a few times. It's just beautiful. The U.S. Forest Service says they are seeing a dramatic increase in people visiting that area, as many as 500,000 people a year. And as the gorge gets busier, they are looking to better manage the area.
We're kind of at this point where we have to designate campsites, adopt some of the user-created trails, and redesign them.
Now, under the proposal, day use areas like trailheads and such, currently free, but would cost $5 a day. $7 for 3 days, $50 for a yearly pass. Camping fees would increase from $5 a day to $10 a day.
So affordable.
Now, and we saw this really with national park use, especially during the pandemic and all the closures and things. They were really having to balance out how many people could come in and when, because they got such an influx because people know they could be outside and could explore that way. And I just think people are starting to realize more and more these absolutely amazing natural wonders that we have not too far a drive, here from our area, especially whether you're going up to Hocking Hills or heading down there to Red River Gorge. And so more people are going there because it is an inexpensive and amazing thing to do.
And a great way to get your kids outside, an easy way to get your kids outside. It's not obviously too extreme, where you're feeling like you're putting them in danger. Now, you and your wife do this often. What is your favorite place locally that you guys like to take walks? I know I'm kind of putting you in the spot here.
Yeah, I mean, like just generally just around here.
Yeah, like where do you typically like to take hikes?
Oh gosh, I'll go. I mean, we'll go just about anywhere. We got out to the Little Miami Scenic Trail, which is not so much you're not hiking, you're on an actual walkway. But we had a wonderful time out there not too long ago. I like to get in the woods, and whether that's just climbing the hill up by Mount St. Joe or going out to Miami Whitewater, getting to Shawnee Forest. I'll go just by Mitchell Memorial Forest, 'cause that's all over my side of town, which makes it nice and easy. But I just love to hike just generally.
I think even just locally.
Yes, there are so many opportunities. You don't have to
go that far to find a spot for you and your family to check out.
Yeah, and then if you're willing to sort of open up that drive a little bit and go 3 or 4 hours from here, and you start including a Hocking Hills and you start including a Red River Gorge, It is truly amazing what you can
Yeah.
see.
And maybe tigers now.
Yeah. And apparently that's just right down, like literally right down the road from where we're standing.
Exactly.
But again, search has been called off. Tigers have been accounted for.
It's not real.
Cannot even
Leave
say
her
that
now.
enough. So, or perhaps again, the tigers are hanging out with the monkeys that were in the trees in Price Hill.
It's an old mini zoo.
We can't be sure. 5 decades of wedding dress success is coming to an end.
Wendy's Bridal in Reading is closing its doors after 51 years. Local 12's Megan Mongello went to the shop to find out why and what it means for brides-to-be.
A plus-size ball gown from Essence of Australia.
Michelle Listerman has worked at Wendy's Bridal for 23 years.
It is a special place. I've loved working here all these years and helping all these girls find their dresses. It's a magical moment, it really is.
That magic started with Wendy and her husband Norm back in 1973 when they opened stores in the Northgate Mall and Dayton Mall. At the height, they ran 11 locations in the area, plus in West Virginia and Indiana.
We just are too old to run it now, and it needs a fresh look. And truthfully, we didn't want to sell the name to anybody because we didn't want to tarnish our reputation. I mean, we've never missed a wedding.
Brides have shopped at Wendy's for 51 years. The Wassermans have been married for 61.
I retired a while ago. He hasn't, however. So this is an emotional thing for him, which makes it an emotional thing for me.
The store closing signs are up. Brides-to-be can find big savings. Half off current samples from top designers sizes 8 to 28, like this one. Originally $1,550.
So $799?
$799. Yeah, it's a great deal.
Any plans for retirement?
Really mainly to stay well. Yeah, and just enjoy the time that we have left.
The Wassermans have left an everlasting mark on the love story of countless brides on their happiest day.
Chills.
Right? Sort of sad. Yeah. It's hard to imagine that
Yes.
whole area without Wendy's Bridal out there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're doing their best by the brides, obviously.
Sure.
Which is all that we can ask for. But it is one of those staple moments that, you know, before you ever get engaged, you know where you're going to go.
You're going to go.
And I have no doubt for 51 years,
It's where a lot of
there's going to be
people-
a lot of soon-to-be brides that are like, well, what do I do now?
That was the place I was going to go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, that
still
whole
a
bridal
cool
district
story,
was
though.
something.
What a legacy.
Yeah, it'll stay open until
Yeah.
the end of July. All the brides with current orders will get their gowns, and they have been contacted. The Wendy's Bridal Show will still happen in January at the Sharonville Convention Center, and I don't know. Sheila has helped host that
Yeah.
a number of times, so I don't know if she's back out there for this next one or
I
not.
could imagine just a different bridal shop taking over because that's
Sure.
been so successful.
Oh my gosh, who would not want to be
Yeah,
sort of
that
connected to
spot.
that name and that brand and that whatever. But we'll have to ask Sheila when she gets
Yeah.
back if she's going to be out there for that too.
All right. Well, Cincinnati chef Joe Salazar is closing Goose and Elder. The restaurant opened near Findlay Market in 2019. The last day of service is June 15th. Now, at the same time, he is reopening his namesake restaurant and a massive multi-million-dollar redevelopment project downtown. The new home of the beloved Salazar will sit below Paycor's new headquarters inside the former Saks Fifth Avenue building. 3CDC is in the process of a $30 million renovation of that building. Chef Salazar told the Business Courier it will be similar to the original OTR location, just updated. Changes include a new menu being described as New American. Salazar is expected to reopen next spring. Salazar's OTR location is now open as a wine bar, and that's called Safi.
Now, that building there, the Saks building,
Yeah.
they are working so hard to get some really solid anchors, into that spot because it is such an important spot in downtown Cincinnati.
Right.
You're so close to Fountain Square. Like, you've got to have things there that
You
are
can't have it
tried
sit.
and
Yeah.
true and are going to stand the test of time and that kind of thing. So to get a spot in there, I think is really, really meaningful for Jose Salazar. I think that's a big deal.
Yeah, it is a big deal.
Yeah.
And especially when you're coming into a building that's having so much in the way of renovations.
Yeah.
It's going to be a win-win for both of them. That's huge.
And one of the interesting things they've got to balance downtown is you've got so much going on down at the banks now. You know what I mean? It's thriving, it's doing well. Obviously, you got both stadiums right there. Then on the other side, you got TQL getting up into OTR, and that's doing, amazingly well, and new things are in development up there.
Right.
Then you've got sort of the heart of the city, Fountain Square, where
Yeah.
it's got to continue to be that. You know what I mean? And so to sort of nourish all three parts of what is sort of as a whole, kind of that whole downtown area, that's a challenge. Do you know what I mean?
It feels like restaurants especially are
Oh.
extremely successful.
Yeah. Well, and they've got pockets in OTR, pockets in Pendleton,
Right.
down at the banks. Yeah, so you've got to have those similar anchors, and certainly you got Ruby's down there on Fountain Square, just off Fountain Square now
Yeah.
too. So to have a couple of big anchor ones like that in that area is huge.
Yeah, that's exciting. So
big time.
spring, wait
Yeah.
for it in spring.
Sure, you could stop watching now, but let's be honest, you want to see more. So click some of those links, or better yet, go ahead and tap subscribe. That way you'll catch more content from Local 12.